signal appeared on human monitors late in the night. On the bridge of the Endeavour, Captain Leela Marin frowned at the strange rhythm of the pulses blinking across the console. She had seen hundreds of signals from across the galaxy, most routine shipping requests, star traffic updates, scientific probes. But this was different. It was an SOS. Not a distress signal from a cargo ship or a mining station, but a true call for help from a distant world. Its pattern was complex, almost musical, and it carried a subtle undercurrent of urgency. Leela's crew leaned over their screens, eyes wide. "Captain," said Ravi, the communications officer, "it's not meant for us. It's addressed in the standard galactic protocol for diplomats and mediators. We're not supposed to answer it." Leela's smile was slow, careful. "Ravi, when has humanity ever followed supposed to?" "Run the coordinates. Let's see what's out there." Ravi hesitated, then tapped the console. The coordinates blinked back at them, a system on the edge of charted space. Beyond it lay nothing but stars and black emptiness. "Edge of the galaxy," murmured Kira, the navigator. "No one goes that far. Most species don't even send probes here. It's quiet, too quiet, quiet." That word did not scare humans, it excited them. Humanity had a reputation in the galaxy for being chaotic, reckless, and unpredictable. But they were also curious, inventive, and surprisingly brave. Or so they liked to believe. The Endeavour's engines roared as it leapt into hyperspace. Lights flashed on the bridge as the stars stretched into lines. The crew, mostly young humans with a few alien advisors assigned by galactic authorities, stared at the viewscreen, imagining what they might find. The destination revealed itself after what felt like hours. A blue-green planet hung in orbit around a golden sun. Clouds swirled over its surface, but something was off. The usual harmony of cities, oceans, and forests seemed fragile. Tiny streaks of smoke rose from several locations, and faint lights blinked across the continents as if calling for help. "This planet is in trouble," Leela said quietly. She knew the other galactic species would have sent a fleet of diplomats, engineers, or scientists, all carefully trained. Humans had none of that. What they had was curiosity, empathy, and stubbornness. And as she often reminded her crew, it worked more often than anyone expected. Ravi sighed, "And we're the wrong species. Officially, we shouldn't even be here." "Exactly," Leela said. "That's why we're perfect." The Endeavour descended through the atmosphere. Humans were the only species who didn't require complex permission protocols or layered bureaucracy before taking action. They landed near one of the glowing signals, a city suspended on platforms above water, built in shapes that seemed alien even to seasoned explorers. Towers twisted into arcs, bridges floated in midair, and the streets shimmered with light. The humans stepped out. Leela led her crew, taking in the strange sights. Their translator devices crackled as they activated. The city's inhabitants approached, tall, thin beings with translucent skin, luminous eyes, and subtle bioluminescent markings that changed with their mood. They paused, staring at the humans with a mix of fear, confusion, and cautious hope. "Greetings," Leela said. Her voice was calm, friendly. "We received your SOS. We're here to help." The aliens exchanged looks. One of them, taller than the rest and with a crown-like structure over its head, stepped forward. Its voice was melodic, vibrating slightly in the air. "You are not the species we requested. We expected others, skilled, precise, logical, not this." Ravi whispered, "Great, they think we're wrong." Leela smiled. "Good, that makes us exactly what they need." The alien leader, who introduced itself as Shalrek, explained their problem. Their planet's life support system, a network of energy nodes maintaining the atmosphere, oceans, and weather, was failing. Their scientists could not stabilize it. If left unchecked, their world would become uninhabitable within weeks. The humans listened carefully, asking questions that no one had thought to ask before. They didn't rely on protocols or calculations alone. They used curiosity, analogies, humor, and empathy. They asked about the feelings of the citizens, the mood of the environment, and even the sounds of the energy network. Shalrek tilted its head. "You speak in ways we do not understand." Leela shrugged. "Maybe because no one ever tried to." Over the next hours, humans explored the energy nodes with the aliens. Where the alien engineers had seen numbers and functions, humans saw patterns, rhythms, and relationships. They suggested changes that seemed reckless, adjusting energy flows in ways that broke conventional rules, connecting nodes that shouldn't be connected, and using local materials in new ways. The aliens were hesitant, skeptical, and at times alarmed. "That will destabilize everything," one exclaimed. "It will fail. Or it will work," Leela replied, smiling. "We'll see." And slowly, carefully, it began to work. Small lights in the nodes began to shine brighter. Energy readings stabilized. The air felt cleaner. The clouds shifted into a more balanced pattern. Birds, strange, floating creatures, returned to the sky. The aliens gasped. No species had solved the problem this way. No expert diplomat, scientist, or technician had succeeded. Humans were different. Ravi, peering at a monitor, muttered, "They're happy. I think it's working." Leela nodded. "And this is just the beginning. Wait till they see the rest of our ideas." Night fell on the alien city. Humans and aliens stood together, watching the glowing platforms and bridges reflect in the water below. Shalrek approached Leela. Its luminous eyes flickered in patterns humans didn't fully understand, but the emotion was clear: gratitude. "You are not our chosen species," it said softly. "Yet you are the ones who may save us." Leela chuckled. "Sometimes the galaxy picks the wrong species for the right job." Shalrek hesitated, then smiled in its own alien way. "Then teach us. Show us how you think." Leela looked at her crew. They nodded. That was humanity's greatest strength, their ability to adapt, to imagine, to reach beyond rigid rules. And now, the galaxy's edge had just begun to witness it. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, other species detected the human activity. Councils convened, messages were sent, warnings were issued. Humans were interfering, reckless and chaotic. Some were worried, some were angry, but all were curious. No one had expected humans to reach the distant SOS first. No one had expected them to succeed. Back on the planet, humans continued their work. They laughed with the aliens, shared meals, and even introduced them to simple games and music, concepts that no alien had ever experienced. And the aliens learned to see the world not just as numbers, protocols, and functions, but as patterns of life, joy, and creativity. For the first time in generations, the alien world felt hope, not just survival but inspiration. Leela knew the galaxy would notice. Humans had always been unpredictable. Now they were also indispensable. And somewhere in the depths of space, another signal blinked faintly, another call for help, another challenge. Leela smiled, gripping the console. "Looks like we're not done yet." The Endeavor's engines hummed. Humanity's adventure at the edge of the galaxy had just begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The morning sun rose over the alien city, casting long, golden reflections across the floating platforms. The humans of the Endeavor were already awake, moving among the aliens with an energy that seemed endless. For humans, every problem was a challenge, and every challenge was a chance to try something new. Captain Leela Marin gathered her crew on one of the observation decks. She pointed to the network of energy nodes spread across the city. "Yesterday we fixed the basics. Today we do more. We're going to help them not just survive, but thrive." Ravi rubbed his temples. "Captain, thrive. We barely stabilized their energy network." "Thriving sounds ambitious." Leela grinned. "Exactly, that's why we're humans." Kira, the navigator, adjusted her glasses. "I still don't understand why they're letting us do this. We're the wrong species. We don't even have the training to interact with their technology properly." "That's the point," Leela said. "We see things differently. That's why we work. The aliens had gathered in the main platform, their luminous bodies shimmering in the morning light. Shalrek floated forward, greeting the humans with cautious warmth. Your methods are unconventional, it said, but the nodes, they respond to you. Leela laughed softly. We think in ways that don't always make sense to others, but sometimes the universe likes that. The humans began their work. Where alien engineers had relied on precise formulas, humans relied on intuition. They connected energy nodes in patterns that seemed chaotic, shifted power flows according to timing and rhythm, and even suggested using the planet's natural weather cycles to enhance energy stability. The aliens watched in disbelief. One engineer whispered to another, "They are reckless, they will fail." And yet, step by step, the nodes began to glow brighter. Patterns emerged, energy readings stabilized. The air felt cleaner, the clouds moved more naturally. Small creatures, floating like bubbles, returned to the water below. It was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. The humans did not stop there. They introduced the aliens to games, simple activities that taught cooperation, adaptation, and creative problem-solving. One game involved moving energy pulses through a series of shifting pathways, teaching the aliens how to react to unexpected changes rather than rigid plans. The aliens struggled at first. "This is illogical," one complained. "There is no formula, there is no order." Leela smiled. Life isn't always about order. Sometimes it's about creativity, intuition, and trying again when things go wrong. Slowly, the aliens began to understand. Their approach to problem-solving changed. They laughed when mistakes happened. They celebrated small successes. They learned to experiment rather than follow rules blindly. Meanwhile, humans also used technology differently. They created portable devices that mimicked the planet's energy patterns, allowing the aliens to test solutions in miniature before applying them on a larger scale. This had never been done before. Alien engineers relied on simulations and calculations that were rigid and fixed. Humans preferred trial, error, and observation. One small success turned into another. The air above the city became fresher, the floating platforms more stable, and the nodes hummed with a new energy. Shalrek approached Leela, its translucent eyes flickering like sunlight through water. "Your approach is strange, but it works. We do not know how to thank you," Leela shrugged. "No need to thank us. We like helping. It's what humans do." But far across the galaxy, not everyone was pleased. The major galactic councils observed the humans' actions with growing concern. Humans had never been considered responsible or reliable. Their methods were unpredictable, and now, on the edge of the galaxy, they were actively interfering in another species' survival. One council member, a stern alien with crystalline limbs, slammed a holographic console. "Humans are reckless. They are changing a civilization with no oversight. We must intervene." Another council member shook its head. "Perhaps they are succeeding." The debate continued, but no immediate action was taken. Meanwhile, the humans continued their work, oblivious to the galaxy watching from afar. Back on the planet, the humans noticed something remarkable. The aliens' energy network had a subtle rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. By aligning with it, humans could amplify the stability of the nodes. They used sounds, light patterns, and even gentle movements, techniques no alien had considered. Kira laughed as she demonstrated. "It's like dancing with electricity." Shalrek's eyes widened. "You move with energy like living patterns. We cannot understand, yet we feel it." Humans explained that intuition and creativity were part of their nature. They didn't need strict rules to guide them. They relied on observation, empathy, and trial. The aliens began to mimic their approach, experimenting with energy flows and node connections in playful, imaginative ways. And it worked. Days passed. The city transformed. Energy flowed smoothly, nodes pulsed with vitality, and the citizens, both human and alien, noticed subtle improvements in their environment. The sky seemed clearer, water shimmered brighter, and the once fragile structures now floated with stability. The aliens were astonished. "No species before could do this," Shaurek admitted. "You humans have changed our world," Leela smiled. "That's what we do. Sometimes the wrong species is the right one." The humans also shared simple joys. They introduced music, storytelling, and games that taught cooperation and innovation. The aliens discovered laughter, curiosity, and joy, emotions that had been missing in their scientific focus. Slowly, they learned that survival wasn't just about calculations. It was about understanding, flexibility, and connection. But the galaxy continued to watch. Messages arrived on the Endeavor's comms system, warning humans to stop. "Your actions are unauthorized. Withdraw immediately." Ravi frowned. "Captain, they're serious. Some of these species might send fleets if we continue." Leela laughed softly. "Let them come. We're not fighting anyone, we're teaching them. And if the galaxy learns anything, it's that humans solve problems differently. That's our advantage." Kira looked at her. "And if they don't understand our way?" "They will," Leela said. "They'll see the results. Actions speak louder than rules." As the humans worked, they encountered one final challenge. A massive energy surge threatened to destabilize the largest node in the city. The aliens had tried multiple calculations and failed. Human engineers gathered around the node. Leela suggested an idea that shocked the aliens. "Let's channel the energy not into controlling it, but into sharing it with the surrounding nodes. Let it flow naturally." The aliens gasped. "You would risk everything." "Yes," Leela said, "but if we do it carefully, we can stabilize the entire network." Step by step, humans and aliens worked together. They synchronized movements, patterns, and pulses. The massive node glowed with a steady light. Energy flowed like a river, connecting the nodes naturally. The system stabilized completely. For the first time, the alien city experienced true balance, not just survival but harmony. Shaurek's luminous eyes glimmered with emotion. "You are saviors. But not by rules, by understanding. We have never known this." Leela smiled. "Sometimes the right solution doesn't follow the rules. Sometimes it's just the wrong species doing the right thing." That night, humans and aliens celebrated. The city glowed with renewed life, and laughter echoed across the platforms. Humans told stories of Earth and its simple wonders, forests, oceans, and human creativity. Aliens shared legends of their ancestors and stars. The Endeavor crew realized that in saving the planet, they had done more than fix a technical problem. They had changed the way an entire civilization thought. They had introduced empathy, creativity, and joy into a species that had only known rules. And somewhere far in the galaxy, other species were taking note. They whispered about humans, reckless, chaotic, yet brilliant. Some worried, some admired. All were curious. Leela watched the stars from the observation deck. Another SOS blinked faintly on the console, a call from another distant world. She grinned. "Looks like the galaxy isn't done with us yet," Ravi groaned. "Captain, more chaos." "Exactly," Leela said. "And that's what makes humans humans." The galaxy had seen something it had never expected. A species that broke rules, trusted intuition, and solved problems in ways no one could predict. Humanity had not just stabilized a world, they had started a revolution in thinking. And the galaxy would never be the same. The humans of the Endeavor left the glowing alien city behind, their ship gliding smoothly through space. Captain Leela Marin leaned back in her chair, eyes on the stars. Her crew, tired but exhilarated, moved quietly around the bridge. Humanity had done the impossible, saved a civilization in ways no one else would have imagined. But their work was far from over. Across the galaxy, news of humanity's actions spread like a comet's tail. Reports described how humans had arrived uninvited, solved a planetary crisis, and introduced new ways of thinking to an alien species. Councils of advanced civilizations debated furiously. Some considered humans reckless, unpredictable, even dangerous. Others whispered admiration, wondering if humans were the galaxy's hidden secret weapon of ingenuity. On the planet they had saved, the aliens celebrated. Shalrek and their council formally thanked the humans. Your species has shown us what we never thought possible. Not through logic, not through rules, but through understanding. Your way is strange yet perfect, Leela smiled. We just ask questions, listen carefully, and try new things. That's how humans solve problems. Ravi rolled his eyes. I think we also break a lot of things first. Kira chuckled, but we fix them in our own way. The aliens laughed, their bioluminescent markings flickering with amusement. They had learned not just to survive, but to think differently, to experiment, adapt, and find creative solutions. Humanity had given them a gift far greater than energy stability, perspective. But not all were pleased. The galactic councils sent emissaries to intercept the endeavor. Humans, one council leader said sharply, its crystalline limbs clicking in frustration. Your interference is unauthorized. You are altering civilizations without permission. Stop immediately. Leela leaned forward, her voice calm but firm. We didn't change anything without their consent. We only helped. They asked for help and we answered. That's what humans do. Another council member frowned. Your species acts unpredictably. How can we trust you with more crises? Leela smiled. You don't have to trust us. You just have to watch. Meanwhile, the aliens humans had helped began advocating for them. Shalrek spoke to the councils, describing how humans had saved their civilization and introduced methods that no one else had considered. Slowly, opinions began to shift. Humanity's creativity, intuition, and empathy became recognized as strengths, not weaknesses. Back on the Endeavor, humans received another SOS signal, this one from a distant, ice-covered planet. The crew looked at each other with excitement. Another world in trouble? Ravi asked. Leela grinned. Exactly. Another chance to do what humans do best. The new planet was harsh, frozen, and windswept, but humans approached it like they always did, curious, observant, and open-minded. They noticed details that others would miss. Tiny thermal vents in the ice, patterns in the snow that suggested natural energy flows, and signs that the native creatures had adapted ingeniously to survive the cold. Humans began studying the planet's challenges, sharing ideas with the native species. They introduced simple tools, new ways of harnessing energy, and techniques to cooperate more effectively. And just like before, the results were extraordinary. The native species world became more stable, more productive, and more harmonious in ways that no one could have predicted. Humans weren't just saving worlds. They were teaching civilizations to think differently, to value creativity, flexibility, and collaboration. Word of these successes reached the wider galaxy. A council meeting convened, bringing together representatives of dozens of species. Debates raged over humans' role in interstellar affairs. One diplomat, a tall alien with silver feathers, spoke cautiously. Humans are unpredictable, but they achieve results no one else can. Their methods are different yet effective. Another council member frowned. They break the rules of protocol. They interfere without authorization. How can we control them? Leela, present in a holographic transmission, answered with a calm smile. We don't break rules to harm anyone. We solve problems. Sometimes the galaxy needs solutions, not rules. If you focus only on rules, you'll miss the answer right in front of you. A hush fell over the council chamber. No one could argue with the results. Humans had saved multiple worlds, changed entire civilizations, perspectives, and done it without violence, without coercion, and without seeking power. On the Endeavor, the crew celebrated quietly. They had always known humans were different. They trusted intuition, creativity, and empathy over strict logic and procedure. They were chaotic, yes, but effective. And now the galaxy was learning the same lesson. Kira watched the stars pass by. It's amazing. We've only answered 2 SOS signals and the galaxy is already different. Leela nodded. Exactly. Sometimes it only takes one species willing to act differently to change everything. Ravi leaned back, shaking his head. Do you think they'll ever really trust us? Leela laughed softly. Trust isn't the point. Understanding is. And the galaxy is beginning to understand humans. Maybe it will never fully predict us, and that's fine. That's exactly why we're important. Back on the ice-covered planet, humans were leaving and the native species watched them go with gratitude. One elder approached the humans. Your species is strange, but you see life in ways we never could. You give hope where there was none. Leela smiled. Hope is what humans do. We try to see what others cannot and we act. That's the real strength of our species. Ravi muttered. I think we also cause a lot of chaos along the way. Maybe, Leela admitted, but chaos can lead to growth. Sometimes the wrong species is the right solution. The Endeavour returned to space, stars stretching into lines as hyperspace engines roared. The galaxy was changing around them. Species that had once relied only on protocol and rigid rules were beginning to experiment, innovate, and communicate in new ways. Humans had shown that empathy, creativity, and intuition were not weaknesses, they were strengths. And somewhere in the distance, another SOS blinked faintly. Another world needed help. The crew exchanged excited looks. Leela's grin widened. Ready for another adventure? Always, Ravi said, leaning back. The galaxy waited. And humanity, unpredictable and brilliant, rushed forward once more. As the Endeavour disappeared into hyperspace, the galaxy felt a subtle shift. Humans had introduced a new perspective. That intelligence wasn't just logic, that leadership wasn't just authority, and that survival wasn't just calculation. Actions, creativity, and empathy could achieve miracles. In council chambers and classrooms, labs and observation decks, civilizations across the galaxy began to change their thinking. They studied humans, debated humans, and in secret tried to emulate them. The chaos of humanity had become a model, a lesson that no algorithm or rigid rule could teach. And humanity kept moving forward, answering calls for help, spreading ideas, and showing the universe that the wrong species could, in fact, be the right one. The story ended not with war, conquest, or domination, but with inspiration. Humans had no grand plan to rule the galaxy. They simply acted, thought, and cared. And in doing so, they changed everything. The galaxy had learned something important, that the right species to answer a call for help was not always the one expected. Sometimes, the species that listens, learns, and acts with heart, creativity, and courage is the one who reshapes the universe forever. Captain Leela Marin looked at her crew as the stars stretched past the viewport. Let's see who needs us next, she said softly. And with that, humanity continued its journey, leaving a trail of hope, innovation, and wonder across the galaxy, a reminder that being different wasn't a weakness. It was a gift.